Fit, what's going on?
Hey,
Episode
what's going on?
episode 4, man. We've been at it a month already.
Already.
That's what I'm talking about. Spotting
Hmm.
hidden patterns that hold you back. So, you guys, this is all leading to the monthly meetup that we plan on having. It's in if you count this week and the next one, it's in 3 weeks, basically 2 Mondays from now. Where we will meet up and have a little bit more conversation, really about trying to dive into your relationship as much as possible, making sure that we can uncover blind spots and practice new ways of dealing with relationships. And so we're pretty pumped to be able to offer that to you guys. If you want to dive deeper, that is available to you if you want to sign up for that. But anyways, we're working on spotting hidden patterns today that hold you back. What's been going on, Fit?
Oh, everything good, and it's good all at once. Even when it's not good, it's good somehow,
Somehow
right?
you
In the event, in the event that it's not great, it's good.
yeah,
Even when
yeah.
it's not good, it's
You gotta do what
um,
you gotta do with whatever you have, right?
it's like I say, this smile was earned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is in earning that smile. Sometimes we roll out of bed and we're so fortunate to have a smile naturally.
Right.
But in the events that we don't, are we just going to accept that we're not smiling on the inside where it's important? Or
Mhm.
are we going to do something to
Yeah.
get that smile?
You gotta be in charge, right? You gotta be in
Mhm.
charge for sure. That reminds me whenever I was on a team retreat this past weekend, and we did uh, a hike, and part of doing the hike is there's some parts where you just feel like, man, I can't do this anymore. It's difficult. And I reminded the people who were hiking with me, is it like that right there is, if we can embrace it, that's where the goodness actually happens. Because if you could learn how to switch your mind over at this point in time and kind of change it to it's all about me being able to accomplish, then you're going to be in a different spot. And so, yeah, the perspective that you put on things changes the experience that you're having. And I think that that is something we can clip up and send out to everybody, because it's super important for us to be able to have that psychological understanding about how things work. We own so much of our experience, and if we're willing to buy into that, we're going to be in a good spot. Yeah, so I do have a question from a listener, and I'll let you be the first to answer it. And it kind of ties in a little bit with our topic anyway, so we'll use it. So this person says, "Why do I keep ending up in the same kind of relationship even though I know better?"
Hmm. Well, what you know and what you feel should be are two completely different things.
Mm,
The why you keep choosing the same people,
mhm.
why you keep finding yourself in the same situations and understanding that, why in finding why are we drawn to the same people. A lot of the times we don't investigate is this a good potential match for me as far as a partnership, because what we do is we meet people and we think we have this chemistry with them, we think we have this bond with them
Mhm.
because we get along so well, because we laugh and we have a good time. And then so
Right.
all of a sudden it's, hey, we get along so well. Why don't we make it official? Get
Mhm.
into a relationship. And they go, yeah, all right. You like me, I like you. Let's do this.
Right.
But then nothing else, nothing's ever really talked about after that.
Mm.
Nothing's established. There's no expectations, no discussion of values. What do you expect from me? What do I expect from you? What does a relationship mean?
Right.
What is cheating to you? Right. And so we don't go and ask ourselves the question, is this person's lifestyle a good lifestyle that matches my lifestyle?
Hmm.
Is their life and my life actually, joining together? Would that make a good functioning unit?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I would say that it is not taking the time to investigate and discover the disconnects
Yeah.
that continue to lead you to what you maybe not necessarily want, but what you feel you may deserve,
Hmm.
or what you secretly feel you need when in actuality you don't, and a matter of not learning your lesson, or failing to apply what you've learned, because again, we can make the same mistake because we can learn our lessons and make the same mistake
Yeah.
because we fail to apply what we've learned.
Yeah.
Learn to apply what we've learned.
Yeah. 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 Good points. And I'll add on to that too that when there's pressure, and I'm gonna call our situation of trying to make a relationship work or just go pressure, because if we're trying to make a relationship work, means we haven't done it yet, right? So we haven't been in a scenario that we were ultimately successes after we've lived. So we know then if we've been successful. So I'm going to call the relationship idea pressure. When pressure happens, we usually resort to our deepest held habits. And our deepest held habits, a lot of times, are things that don't necessarily um, match with where we're going, but they match with where we've been. So whenever this person asks, why do I end up in the same kind of relationship? It could be a little bit about who you're picking, but then it also could be a little bit about what you're trying to put forward. So in pressure situations, when you're dealing with the different things of relationship, communication, sex, money, like when you're dealing with all partnership, alignment, like when you're dealing with all those things, you have a way of being that promotes a different kind of interaction. So when that's happening, that pressure of making those things work, you just resort to what you've always known. And interestingly enough, there's a pattern that people stick to that looks like three bases. So it's perpetrator, victim, and rescuer. And two people play on those bases at the same time. The common word for it is codependency, but it's not useful for us to just to label it a name, but just know perpetrator, rescuer, victim. Every time there's pressure, we start jumping back into that scenario. And
Mm-hmm.
two people just run on a base. So you go stand on the victim base, I go stand on the rescuer base. You go stand on the rescuer base, I go on the perpetrator base. And we just keep moving through the bases, and we learn how to play this game, because at least it means that there's some kind of interaction that feels like connection, even though it's truly not connection,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
so our challenge here, I think, that is going on when this person says like, man, I keep ending up in the same relationship. Maybe it's who you pick, but maybe it's also, and I think this is the more useful part for us to be able to look at for this person, is it may also be some of the things that you're propelling because you have the pressure of trying to make a relationship work in different little pieces.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I hope that is helpful, but it also kind of bleeds a little bit into our topic today, because it's like, well, why do I have these patterns? Like, what's going on? How do I even break the patterns? And I think that if we're able to spot them a little bit, that's helpful. But a
Yeah.
lot of times, us just being able to figure out like what's happening. And so I just described the codependency triangle, and that's a huge deal for us to be able to look at what's going on in our interaction that creates some of the same behaviors. So how you get out of that triangle a lot of times is like the game of Monopoly. So Monopoly used to go on forever, days. We used to leave it set up in the living room whenever I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
because there was really no end point. As long as you kept on making good moves, two or three people making good moves, you're splitting half the Monopoly basically until somebody decides they want to make a trade that's really bad, right? Um, and so it could go on forever. So the only way to stop really is for you to get out of the game. And it's the same thing with codependency. It's the same exact
Yep.
way with codependency. How would you tell somebody to break the pattern? Fit?
um, stop participating.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of what you allow into your life. We put up boundaries for what? Because when they cross them, well, we say, well, I told you not to cross them, so let me put them up again so you can cross
Mm-hmm.
them again.
Right.
So it gets to a point where it's a matter of recognizing what continues to happen in your life and studying that pattern and going, okay, what have I done to get here? And what do I do when I'm here?
Right.
Where does that lead me? What's that outcome?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I messing up here? Okay. Because you're right. Is it this other person or is it me now? Okay. What's my pattern? And
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that, breaking that, and choosing that. But then when this other person, these other people, these other situations come into our life, in knowing what we choose before, what we have chosen before that has led us to lower grounds.
Yeah.
And in that moment, and each moment, therefore creating a new pattern, a new cycle, in choosing your new reality, in choosing your new outcome, in commanding your new path, and being very intentional about it. See, we are not intentional about where we're going. We say, I
Just
want to move forward. Okay, forward where?
yeah.
Because universal law suggests that if you do not choose it, it shall be chosen for you. If a space is not intentionally filled, it shall be filled
Mm-hmm.
automatically.
Right.
And so, being very intentional, studying those
Mm-hmm.
patterns and breaking them by creating a new one, but knowing what choice you are making and intentionally where it's going to take you, and being very focused and dedicated to making that choice time in and time out, because it sounds good, but it's also true at the same time, or at least I think it sounds good, is you continue to choose it again and again and again until eventually it chooses you, because that's how patterns are created. That's how habits are created, I should say. They're built up with the manual input until it's automatic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say there's a deep level of what's going on. A lot of times, it's not just we talked in the beginning of our podcast um, episodes that there's avoidance and unmet needs and things that mean like I gotta somehow have conflict. And I don't think for a lot of people that that's a matter of I just want to be bad in relationships. A lot of times it's a deep, deep level. And one of my favorite concepts is that it's some aspect of spiritual warfare going on the inside. And so we might try to go to the outside and we were just talking about this before we started fit, but we might try to go on the outside and say, okay, how do I need to try to behave differently? Right. And the more that we try to focus on how do I need to behave differently, it starts getting more and more difficult because we become aware that we can't do it. And the more we become aware that we can't do it, then it becomes more of a battle. And now we're so worried about getting the behavior right that we lose focus on the thing that's going to take us the furthest, which is our spirit, like our heart condition. And so we have to really get to a point of being able to work on our heart. And there's two steps to me that we always need. One is being able to love ourselves, and then the next one is for us to be able to love somebody else with the way that we love ourselves. And so in order to do that, I like what you said about intentionality. You have to be super intentional about what you fill your mind up with. All these things work on the heart. About what you fill your mind up with, um, what your prayer game looks like, what your interactions and the words that you're saying. Like everything has to be super intentional and circled around what you actually want to get to in your life. If you want good relationship, you have to interact that way and then fill yourself with that same kind of concept. And so your heart condition is super important if you're going to get good at being able to break the habits that have already, or even the patterns that have led you into the relationships that you don't want to be a part of, and or are taking your current relationship into a place where you recognize, like, man, I've always done this kind of thing, right? So remember, a relationship issue or the conflicts that you have, ultimately they're behavioral scenarios, um, backed by your spiritual warfare. So if you don't go into really battling the heart spot, then you're going to have a difficult time to ever fix it, right? That was what we were just talking about when we were saying about the Paul scenario, where he was like, man, I battle the things, and I'm, I don't want to do those things, but I do those things. The things I want to do, I can't do, right? And
Yeah,
so the challenge is on for us to really kind of visit what's going to change, the most of us, right?
yeah. And it's always in going direct. And if you think about it, it's why do we do anything in life?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the way it makes us feel. Okay. And so on the opposite end of the spectrum, when we feel a certain way that we don't like, that we don't want to feel, then it makes us do those things,
Right.
really want to do those things to make us feel a certain way,
Yeah.
or the opposite, or any other feeling rather than feeling how we feel at that moment will do sometimes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. True
And
story.
so,
Yeah. Hey, so let me ask this question, and um, I can go first too on it, but I want to hear from you about this as well. Um, how do you help people identify their blind spots? So one of the things that I always remember is, like you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And a huge part of my work, I think, is being able to educate people on like behavioral patterns and tendencies and what things actually mean and then where they come from. A favorite question of mine inside of, um, uh, interaction, like in counseling, um, is where did you learn that? Right. And
mhm,
I think a lot of times us just kind of, putting together a pattern of like, oh, I learned that when I was 3, right? I remember this conversation that I had, or I remember this interaction that I had, and I have been doing that ever since, right? And so those things get kind of routed in us and blueprinted, and so it becomes a blind spot because we're just working life out, but we got that from whenever we were 3 or 4, right? So I like asking that question, like, where did you learn that, right? Like, where did you pick that up? Like, where did that come from? So just creating awareness around, like, nothing really belongs to us, even though we're using it. It
mhm.
most likely belonged to the world outside of us, and we adopted and used it just to make sure that we can get through this next moment. The hardest thing about that is whatever got us to this point won't get us to the next point, right? And so now we're using old stuff and trying to create a new situation. So it's a little backwards, right? So for me,
Right,
it's
yeah.
awareness about what those, where those things come from, and I think that that's really helpful for us to be able to help identify some of the blind spots that, people may have. What about you? What are the things that you would say, man? This is how we identify some blind spots. Whether you use those words or not, I don't use blind spots as a word too often.
Mhm. So there's two things in why I like to say peeling the layers,
Mm-hmm.
because when it comes down to one aspect of it is feeling. And how did that make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you feel about yourself at that moment? How did you feel about your spouse at that moment? Okay. In the way that you felt, in identifying your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also interpretations, how a person will interpret in those moments
Yeah.
that lead them to these other paths. And so, how they choose to interpret, whether it's empowering or disempowering, but it is their truth in that moment. So, we draw that interpretation, we have a conclusion, it's going to lead us to a feeling, it's going to lead us to a thought, right? And so, it is in how how I felt, two big parts of it, in how I felt and how I interpreted. Okay. Okay. So I felt disrespected. So then I also interpreted that that action meant that you didn't respect me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then what do you want to do at that moment? What does that make you want to do in that moment?
Mm-hmm.
And why? And so a lot of these questions, the way that it's that I like to do it is to really make somebody think of why they really want to do something, why they really feel that way, and is it really true? Making them question their own thoughts. Um, is for me it's fun because uh, I like to lead them to their own conclusions, to their own answers, right? To their own victory.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when they're telling me a lot of the things, I can already see a lot of what's going on, and I'm sure you do as well. But you can't just tell somebody, it's for me, and I'm sure, you do the same, but helping them to find that within themselves. Because, like I tell everybody, the answers are always within.
Mm-hmm.
I just helped you, guided you to them, but
Right.
they were always within. The answers are always within.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's interesting you put it that way. Um, and I don't think I consciously think of this as I'm doing it. Like it's not a game for me. Um, but I love seeing people thrive. And I never want to take that away. So that part is like my feeling as I'm working with people is
Yeah,
um, I can see and I already know based on like the things that I've worked with and known and seen and educated myself on. But I don't want to take away their ability to really get their own breakthrough and experience, And so it's interesting that you say that. Um, I mean, I don't know how often like people says, Thomas, you knew this all along, or like you had this idea, or you know this, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is what we've been working on. And for me, it's not a game. It's just a matter of like I just trust so much what my clients are doing and their willingness to work and get better. And
yeah,
not only do I trust it, like I think it's the fantastic part of us as people is our ability if somebody's willing to wrap their arms around us emotionally, how much we can do, right? And so I love that whole process. And so for me, um, seeing those kinds of breakthroughs are really a big deal
yeah.
whenever somebody could pick it up. So
Mm.
okay. So man, we're at our I like this segment actually last week. So we we are at red flag or real talk. That's where we're
Yep.
at. That's where we're gonna do it. Do you wanna read off a scenario and then I'll answer and then I'll read off a scenario and you answer it. We might even have enough time where we can both get an answer, and if you don't like my answer, you could chime in and give me one that's better. But I'll
I'll
let
do
you
it however.
I'll let
Okay.
you read it off first. Do you have it with you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the document. We're under, where is it?
It's like, yeah, we're on an energy spike here.
Oh, energy spike.
So the red flag or real talk?
Always saying I'm fine when upset.
Ooh.
Real talk or red flag? And for the people who are just joining for the first time, let them
Okay.
know what real talk and red flag segment is.
Okay. So we're gonna go through a couple of scenarios. If it's a red flag, get out as soon as you possibly can. Don't stay around. Don't stop at go. Go straight away. Right? That's red flag. And then real talk says, man, we just have to have a real conversation, and I think we could fix that. It's something we really need to have a conversation about, right? So it's either red flag or real talk. All right, so my scenario that you're giving me is always saying I'm fine when upset. I think that's a
Yep.
red flag. Here's why I think that's a red flag, because how come you can't say the things like, well, it could maybe be both, but I'm gonna go with red flag because that person hasn't developed the ability to get to a place where they could actually say like, I'm not okay and I'm okay with not being okay. I'm not okay, but I don't think it's your responsibility to fix it. I'm not okay, but I need time to process why I'm not okay, right? Like, so I feel like if we haven't got to that point, and we're not there yet, we're not really ready for a relationship. So I think
Mhm.
that's a really big deal. It might seem like a little thing, but yeah, I think that that's a red flag for sure. All right, my
Well,
turn.
there are a certain
Oh,
amount
you
of skills, one must possess to have a successful relationship, or at least expect to,
true.
and being ready for a relationship. Yeah, we want a relationship, but are we truly, really ready for one? And there is a difference as well between relationship skills
Hmm.
and being able to simply communicate your feelings.
Right, right, right.
You
Absolutely,
know,
absolutely.
so and that's a
What
habit.
would you give that? Would
And
you give it a red flag or real talk?
what's the point, Thomas? You're not going to like my answer anyway. All right. You want to do it how you want to do it. All right. Uh, so
Love it.
for me, I'm always going to say both because I'm always like, there's always a way. I mean, it's a red flag, but there's always a way.
There is a way. I love it. I love it. All right, my turn for you. Jealousy over social media likes. Is that
Mhm.
a red flag? You got to get rid of them, or should you just have a conversation about it?
Well, I mean, either way, that is a definite red flag. But you realize that the social media likes, being jealous over social media likes, to be so simple minded and so surface level,
Mm-hmm.
to think that it's actually about the likes,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about the likes, it's about something much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And so finding what it's really about, again, peeling those layers and finding what it's really about, the real invalidation and validating the real invalidation, getting on the same page, because you could stop the social media likes, but the jealousy will still be there.
Mm-hmm.
So long term, right? That's it's not going to work if that continues, and we're again working together. But that's a and then also there's this too, depending on what age you are. How
Mm-hmm.
old are you
Yeah.
to be jealous over social media likes? And yes, there is an aspect to what you guys have been through
Mm-hmm.
with boundaries and things
Yeah.
too. But yeah, so both. Again, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Do what you
Um,
want with it.
uh, Jealousy over social media likes. I'll give them a break. I mean, let's just have a real talk conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we don't have to red flag them. Let's just have a real talk conversation and see what it is. And shoot, like maybe if you're on on the receiving end of that jealousy, maybe you could do something about what you're liking.
Mhm.
But that goes with your comment about like it depends on what's happened in the relationship and what age you are in, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, all right, your turn.
Canceling plans last minute. Is that a red flag or is it real talk?
Man, canceling plans last minute. See, doesn't. So here's what I would need some context. Like, are they married
Yep,
or
they're married. This has
are
been
they
going on for
dating?
years. They've been going on for years, and they're
Oh,
always
okay.
canceling for work. They're always canceling for work, but it's for work.
Uh,
You have to cancel,
okay.
right? It's understandable, right?
Yeah, it's a real talk conversation. If you're married, like you got to have some real talk conversation about it. It's hard whenever you're not dating to have red flags. You know what I mean by that? Because if you think about it, if you're married, like a lot of things need to be conversations. You can't just like throw out who you have, you know? So it's a
Yeah.
different. So this for sure, if you're married and that comes up, it's definitely some real talk. We got to have a conversation about it for sure. Yeah. All right. Next one. Needing constant reassurance.
Um, context. Give me some context. Give me a scenario.
All right, let's say they just started dating. Been dating. Let's say a year they've been dating, and this now becomes something that they're realizing they need constant reassurance. There has been no broken trust issues. There's been nothing that's gone on. Maybe there's some history of some things in their own past, but not necessarily with the relationship current.
Hmm. So yeah, that's a definite red flag. If it's not being addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, there's a problem that's come to light, but is it being addressed? It's not about, all right, I'll stop that, or I'm gonna try to stop, asking you where you're going all of the time. Yeah, you may stop asking them where they're going all of the time, but you still feel the way you feel.
Right.
So what's the point?
Yeah.
And so it is in one, if you are insecure all on your own.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that anyone, especially you're entering a new relationship, and there's, nothing they really have done to give you some type of insecurity. And
Right.
so that is all on your own for you to investigate, because you can't expect someone to live their life helping you feel insecure, or helping secure you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your partner can be there to help you, support you, yes, definitely. But your insecurities are for you to secure. And the reason why I say that is because it doesn't matter what anyone else does to secure your insecurities. If you cannot secure your own insecurities on your own,
It's not gonna be good.
it's like everyone trying can hold you up, everyone around you holding you up to stand. But what happens when they let you go? You have to stand on your own.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Very
So it
true.
always comes down to you.
Yeah, for sure.
So doing something about those insecurities, definitely. And it's understandable. Everybody has insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has issues. But to what degree? What is it causing? What impact does it have on you in your life? What
Does it be does it
negative
become
cycles
a
is it causing?
responsibility of somebody else? Like when you try to make it the responsibility of somebody else, it's a lot different,
Then
right?
because then suddenly the theme of our relationship, instead of love and excitement and adventure and intimacy and whatever it is, then the theme of our relationship becomes what?
Yeah, reassurance. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's the
I love
theme of our relationship. The foundation of our relationship is reassurance.
it. Mm-hmm.
And so, what is the source of reassurance? Insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Absolutely.
under, again, I don't want to make it sound like if you're insecure, you're choosing to be insecure, like, oh, yeah, I'm just choosing to be insecure. No, I mean, life does that to you. People, situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, not giving up, because where I used to be, I was
Yeah.
very insecure. And the way I spoke, just everything, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
So you can figure your insecurities
Yeah.
and work through them. It's a process, but again, it's up to you. Something only you can do.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like that needs a lot of conversation at first, and then later on, if somebody can't do away with it, it's definitely a red flag, right? Like we can't. This is the thing that I like about what you said. Was that part that said we start making the reassurance our relationship juice instead of the actual love and excitement and interaction that means like let's move together, right? And so if we accidentally make something else our relationship juice, now we're living on the wrong juju, bad juju, right? It's not going to be good. So we got to be able to put that over. All right, so actually this is one of my favorite, this next segment is one of my favorite pieces that we do because I feel like we're able to really give back to our listeners. And it's our weekly reset. It's our opportunity to be able to give everybody um, something that you guys could actually take this week and really be able to work on. And so we have 3 steps to spot hidden patterns. And so I'll do the first one, Fit, and then you could do the second one. Then I'll do the third one. I'll wrap it up with the third one. Okay.
Okay.
So one of the things that happens a lot is you start noticing. So our episode is all about being able to find hidden patterns. You're going to start noticing different arguments that you keep having. And if you could start journaling them or writing them down or being able to look at what's happening, um, you're going to start picking up patterns and noticing, okay, what was going on with me before this situation happened, or what was going on in our scenario that made this happen. And the more that you can write that down, it might seem like you could just have it in your mind, but you won't, because part of like the thing that keeps you stuck is you think you have it under control or you think you got it or whatever, but you don't. So you got to be able to like really write it down, free it, right? So write it down, get those patterns, and then um, you'll be able to write down your top 3 by just getting a highlighter, right? Get a highlighter and say like, these are the things that I know constantly keep coming up for me. And after about a month or so, you can look at it and say, okay, these are my top 3, and then you'll get what it is that is the repeat conflicts for you in your life. Okay, and then step 2, you could take that one, Fit.
It says, what need goes unspoken here? So a lot of the times something happens
Mm-hmm.
and we feel a certain way, but we don't say anything. We don't voice anything. And usually it's because we're feeling a certain way and we desire something in that moment,
Yeah.
or we desire some kind of change, or whatever it is, maybe some clarification, some validation, some love, some affection, some attention. Well, we don't speak it. And we, for whatever reason, there's a reason that prevents us from speaking it. So it's not even just about recognizing that you're not speaking it, it's going a step further. Even, why
Yeah.
am I not speaking it? But again, what is it that you feel you require that you're not voicing? What is the other person feels they require they're not voicing?
Yeah.
So what is the missing requirements in that moment then? What do both peoples really require in
Mm-hmm.
that moment, and finding that and meeting those and finding how to meet those requirements?
Yeah. Absolutely. And the third one is the idea of us being able to really think about how we can um, respond in a different way. And I like proactive. So how can I create something different is the way that I would like to go about it. Now, response is very important. So you have to have something lined out that's going to help you respond differently. But the more that you can create a different kind of experience, the better that you're going to get at being able to really reset and find what's going on as far as patterns go. And so, um, being able to do these 3 things, being able to track what's going on, being able to ask the question of what's the actual unspoken situation here, and then being able to share the idea of this is what I can do some differently next time. Those 3 steps right there are going to help you to be able to really spot some of the hidden patterns that would go on without you being able to recognize. You are literally taking whatever is on the inside that's kind of sneaky and bringing it out and putting it out and starting to work on it and configure it, and then you're putting it back in with the question and the reflection piece that we're asking you to do. And so those 3 steps will move you to a different place in your relationship, but more so in your relationship with yourself, because you're going to be able to really spot those kinds of patterns. You have anything else to add to that, Fit?
Do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Yep.
Ain't gonna
Yep.
get done unless you do it. You don't get the paycheck
Yep.
unless you show up to work. And so, as I like to emphasize and
Mm-hmm.
welcome the idea that it's all completely useless unless you use it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But you got to choose it,
So true.
right?
So true.
And so, yeah, choosing to do these things, it may not be fun, but when you ask yourself, well, I mean, is it worth it? I believe Arnold Schwarzenegger said that. Uh, well, I forget the phrase escapes me right now,
Mm,
but he said, yeah, I'm hungry for the unhealthy food, but I'm hungrier more for that championship,
mm-hmm.
And so though you may be used to and comfortable when in your own ways and not doing these supplemental actions, but if you do them, if you again you clock in, you put in the hours, you get the paycheck. So
Right.
you show up to work. So
It's the
do
same
it.
thing.
That's what
Yeah.
my mom used to say. I would sit there and be telling my mom about all of these ideas. Mom, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. She would listen to me. I'm like, all right, well, do it. Then do it, boy. Do it.
I love it.
Here I sit and tell you the same.
Yeah. Do
Do
it.
it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You guys, we have an opportunity for you guys to go a lot deeper with us. I started talking about it at the top of the show, but today we were able
Mhm.
to spot some of the hidden patterns and really find, and then even go with some steps on how to get there. But what would it take for you specifically to get there? And I think if you're able to spend more time with us in our meetup at the end of the month, then you have an opportunity to be able to do that. And so get in there, send us a message, and we'll get you all set up. Before we leave, we're going to get you guys a word of the week, and the word of the week is discernment. And I think the reason that we want to use discernment is because a lot of times we're not really looking at some of the patterns that we need to. And discernment is all about seeing um, and sifting through some of the stuff that goes on in our life. We might be frustrated with our partner about all the things that they are not doing. But the more discernment you have, you start figuring out what it is that you need to do and where how you can impact your relationship in a positive way. So I think discernment is a really big piece. So um, what's one sentence on how discernment changes relationships? If you were going to say, Fit, I don't want to put you on the spot, so I can go first. But from you, what do you think?
Is how it changes it.
Yeah, what's a way that you think discernment changes relationships? How would you say that that happens?
You think of relationships as a car or as some kind of a machine,
Mhm.
and in help helping the machine run efficiently. And so getting it running, making sure that it's running, and doing all of the checks here
Yeah.
and there, okay, and evaluating each situation, going, hey, let's get on the same page about this. How do you feel about this? Let's get on the same page about that. How do you feel about that? Because this is how I feel about it. How do you feel about it? And it's me sharing how I feel, not making a judgment, not making an assumption, and then you share how you feel, and then let's get together and make the best sense of it.
Mhm.
I feel this way. I see it this way. And being
Yeah.
able to question that and go within and express that from a place of openness, saying, and then recognizing this is how I feel. This is what I think. This is where I'm coming from. And so expressing that and being there to help each other process it, not directing it, towards your own agenda. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that it helps in just tremendous ways, but it can also not, I
Yeah.
guess,
Sure.
if you're not voicing it.
Yep. Yeah, I think that part of us being able to spot hidden patterns is being able to have discernment, because discernment helps you to see what is hidden, and so it's so important for us to be able to understand that. Like, you guys will have to stay with me on this because I'm gonna go long and then I'm gonna wrap it up quick. So, a tree produces fruit, and in the case of us as people, the fruit would be the behaviors that we do. And sometimes when we look at that fruit, we might be like, oh, bitter, or not good, or doesn't work with me, right? And so discernment causes us to realize, like, the fruit is what's showing up in the thing that I can interact with, but the real issue is the roots. So everything starts down first and is rooted in something. And whatever is going on underneath are the things, a lot of times for ourselves, that we need to be focused on. And discernment gives us the ability to not be so focused on what's being produced, but instead to be focused on what is creating that scenario. And the more that we can see some of those hidden scenarios, like, man, we have a nutrient problem. That's the reason the fruit's misplaced. And so, what I said earlier about we have um, a spiritual battle going on the inside, right? Like, there's something else happening, and our discernment helps us to really realize that and recognize what's going on there. And so, if you can remember that concept, it's the reason why I draw the picture of while we're trying to draw a picture in your mind of the tree, is because I want you to, yes, at first we're focused on the fruit, but the real deeper thing in seeing your mind, the roots are where we start. It's not just the roots, it's the soil, it's the watering, it's all of that environment down there that matters. And I want that picture in your mind, because discernment is seeing the things that are hidden more than they are interacting with the things that aren't, because or the things that are actually happening, because it's a matter of us being able to spot what we can't see, right? It's a matter of us being able to recognize that and deal with that, because those are the things actually holding us back and producing the things that we don't want to be produced. Okay. So for us, I think in discernment, that wasn't really one sentence. I kind of went off on it, but uh, it's important for us to use discernment this week as we go and do the things that we have to do. Okay. Fit, you have any last words for them? I can go
Um,
first, or you can go first. I always feel like I go last, so I don't want to take the last time all the time. But it's up to you. Go first.
feel free.
All right. Um, so Fitz, I'm gonna get on second base, and Fitz gonna bring me home. I love it. What I will say is something that we actually talked in the back room about before we got on, which is, there's actually a scripture that I like, where, and I could probably just read it real quick, where it's in Romans 7:15, and this is Paul talking about an inner conflict of self-sabotage, and he says, "For that which I do, I allow not, and then for what I would, that do I not, but what I hate, that do I." And I think it's so impactful. Like, for me, like, what the Bible does is that it is the base for psychology, right? And so, no matter what your beliefs are, check it out, and you'll see how much psychological advantage you get if you're able to understand it. And so, anyways, Paul's having this challenge in his mind, and really, it is ultimately a spiritual warfare. Earlier, Fit talked about truth, and ultimately there's an experience that's happening right now, but there's actually just one truth. And if we can find what that is, and it's just a matter of us being able to search with that for that and stay aligned with that, we start moving in the places that we want, and our patterns are less hidden, because a lot of times the hidden things are for our convenience and for our for us to be able to keep doing the things that we're doing, but not necessarily growing to the place that we want to grow to. And so, for in order for us to actually get to the behaviors that we want to be a part of, instead of accidentally keep doing the things that we don't want to be a part of, we really have to battle that spiritual warfare aspect on the inside, and tie in deeper than what we do. It's not a behavioral issue that you can win, but it is a spiritual battle that you can win. And so I would just invite everybody to be able to look deeper, to really try to break and spot some of these patterns that you experience. Take me home, Fit. Take me home.
You know, the baseball.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. All right.
Give it to me.
So I would say this, that the secret awaits eyes, unclouded by ambition.
Mhm.
Those who are bound by desire can only seek which that can be held in their hand. And yes, that is a quote. And if somebody can tell me where that quote is from, I'll give you a whole lot of respect. But I heard that quote as a young lad, and it took me a long time to find out what that really meant. The secret awaits eyes unclouded by ambition. Those who are bound by desire can only seek which that can be held in their hand.
Mhm.
You see? And so when you are so fixated on a certain outcome and you are only going for that outcome, you can only get that outcome.
Mhm.
Right? And to some people, like, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is you can only get that outcome. And you may be missing everything else that the situation or the opportunity is trying to offer you. Whereas Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon, when his student was, he is looking at the sun, talking about the sun, and he was pointing at the finger. He says, he hits him over the head and says, don't focus on the finger, or for you will miss all of that heavenly glory.
Mhm.
Meaning too focused on the way that you're going to get there, huh? Forgetting about what it's really all about, perhaps, and everything that it offers you. And so, can we stay present to the moment so that we can be open to receive to what life is trying to truly present? That's
Mhm.
all for tonight, folks.
Yeah. You guys have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Bye, you guys.